Hello, my name is Barb. It's winter, our favorite season of the year in Wisconsin, right? Today I'm at Hoffman Hills State Recreation Area in west central Wisconsin. Hoffman Hills is a 700-acre winter wonderland for skiers, snowshoers, hikers, and wildlife of all kinds. People come here during all seasons. In spring, the woodland wildflowers are wonderful. In summer, the prairie is ablaze with flowers, and in autumn, the fall colors are unparalleled. But winter might be our busiest season because of the ski trails. Today, I'll be snowshoeing instead of skiing. I'll also be hunting. I didn't bring a deer license, though, or a gun. I'll be hunting for wildlife signs. If you can't join me at Hoffman Hills today, maybe you can hunt for signs of wildlife in your yard, a city park, a nearby state park, or even a playground. You'll find wildlife everywhere in Wisconsin. For my wildlife tracking today, I'm going out with a plan. Whether you're 5 years old or 95, you can approach wildlife tracking in a lot of different ways. Some people like to travel lightly, bringing only their 5 senses, seeing what they see, hear, smell, taste, although we probably won't taste much today, or touch. We'll definitely be bringing our senses to find what we can in the way of wildlife at Hoffman Hills. Some people like to go out with a checklist, kind of like a scavenger hunt. You can find these online. There are lots of nature checklists that can be printed off. Some of them have words, some have pictures. And this is a great way to challenge yourself or maybe have a little friendly competition with some friends or family members. Others like to just go out armed with a camera. They like to take only pictures and leave only footprints. Today, though, I folded a piece of paper into a game board, kind of like a tic-tac-toe board. And I'm going to work on my sketching skills to see if I can find any of these animals that I might expect to find here at Hoffman Hills. I made a little square for each of these: deer, rabbits, raccoons, squirrels, fishers, which are large members of the weasel family, and we do have fishers in Dunn County, small rodents like mice or voles, canids, that's a word that means the whole dog family, red foxes, gray foxes, coyotes. We have all of those in Dunn County. We have photographed some wolves in Dunn County, and we may run into some domestic dogs, even though they're not welcome here at Hoffman Hills. I can't tell their tracks apart in the snow, so I just left one square for canids. I also have turkeys and any signs of other birds. And because I'm prepared for anything, I have the whole back devoted to other cool stuff. Mother Nature always has surprises, and I can't wait to see what she's going to bring us today. The diversity of habitat here at Hoffman Hills is one of the things that makes it so amazing to visit year-round. Cattails are just bursting at their seams this time of year. I have some more canid tracks here. These go well off the trail and up into the woods. So I'm not so sure these are domestic dog tracks. They might actually be one of our native canids, a fox, perhaps. More definite canid tracks. And having human tracks along with them makes me think this may be a domestic dog. The claws are very clear here, 4 toes and the pad behind. You can see the hoarfrost on all these prairie plants. I think it's almost as beautiful in the winter as it is in the summertime. Looks like some rabbit action here. Those two longer indentations in the front of each track with two smaller ones behind give us a clue that cottontail rabbits are in the area. Some very clear rabbit tracks. Those two longer marks in the front, followed by a smaller indentation in the back. Classic cottontail tracks. Jack Frost is having a field day today. This definitely goes under other cool stuff. I'm not exactly sure how I'll capture it with my pen and pencil. Now here I've got some clues that squirrels have been around. There's this little dig, a little scrape in the snow, possibly seeking some of the acorns they buried there last fall. And I see tracks leading away. They're hopping tracks, but they don't have that long indentation in the front and the two smaller ones in the back. They're just kind of like a jump, jump, jump. And if I follow them, they may lead me to the base of a tree where the squirrels scampered up when they were finished hopping through the snow. I've come to a fork in the path. I think I'll head down this way. Maybe this chickadee will follow me. And oh my gosh, this looks like the scene of a party. Something has separated these branch tips from the evergreen above them and thrown them all on the ground. Possibly the work of an ice storm that we had yesterday, but most likely the work of squirrels in the tree. And naturalists aren't quite sure why this happens. Looks like it might have been fun. I found more squirrel tracks. At first these looked kind of like the longer tracks of a cottontail rabbit. But then I noticed they really weren't longer tracks. These are actually the drag lines of the feet of this animal as it races forward. Doesn't look like a squirrel print, you say? This is that party scene where all the branches, the tips of the branches were down on the snow. What I found when I checked further was that's squirrel action most likely. Unless there's been a recent ice storm or windstorm, squirrels are the likeliest culprit. So these are my branch tips in the snow. Dunn County, where Hoffman Hills is located, is known as the transition zone between boreal forest and wide open prairie. That's where you'll find this oak savanna habitat that Hoffman Hills has been really working to protect and preserve. This is how much of western Wisconsin looked in the early days before European settlement. I think I found some tracks of small rodents. Under that log begins a series of very small hopping footprints from a critter that looks too small to be a squirrel. I've added another category, mice and small rodents. These tracks are a little bigger than they probably were when they were made because the snow is several days old and has had some time to melt. Notice how this small rodent goes under the surface of the snow for a little bit and then resurfaces later. This bench seems to have attracted some small rodents. I'm guessing maybe they found some crumbs. And maybe the tiniest footprints I've come across today. Small rodent category. Thank goodness for the generosity of those who thought to preserve this property and those who continue to work to preserve it, maintain it, and protect it so that generations can enjoy it for years to come. Open water is a wonderful place to look for signs of wildlife. I've come down here to this open creek to see if I can find any evidence of deer in the area. And finally, I'm seeing some of the deer tracks I've been expecting all along. We have lots of deer in Dunn County, but apparently they are more scarce in the Hoffman Hills area than they are near the farm where I live. You see the classic cloven hoof design of the deer track. Two distinct sections with kind of a seam in the middle. This one's a beauty. These two-sided tracks are really familiar to many residents around Wisconsin, and they should be pretty easy for me to sketch into my sketch pad for today's outing. Here's the snowshoe trail I just came up, and the ski trail heading down. You can see why Hoffman Hills is known for its roller coaster hills. I'm going to take the slow way down. It's been a great winter challenge. Well, look at this. This is a mammal that I did not expect to find at Hoffman Hills. Apparently we have a beaver in the neighborhood. I can see a stump that was completely chewed around, and it looks like our beaver friend is starting on another tree. Looks like it was gnawed all around until it was finally ready to fall and snap off. I've taken on the winter challenge here. Hoffman Hills has one of the highest points in Dunn County, and you might have noticed a sign that said Winter Challenge to the top of the hill, 7/10 of a mile. There's an observation tower here that's often open in the winter. It's not open this winter, but you can see for miles around. I've made it about two-thirds up the hill, two-thirds of the way up the hill. I've got a little farther to go. I've come to the top of my winter challenge. And from here on out, it's ski trail only. I'm going to respect the sign and know that I've earned my lunch when I get back home today. A beautiful hike up to the top of the observation area at Hoffman Hills.